Well, hi everyone and welcome to Rob Evans 365. It's day number 397 and today I wanted to talk about the big announcement that I have for the podcast, which I have hinted at a little while ago with you, but a number of things which I'll explain in a moment had to take place before I could talk about it. And so let me go back 397 days. And when I first started the podcast, I put a very small charge on the podcast. It was $47 to buy it and to give you access for 365 days of the year. And, if you work that out per minute or just per podcast, it works out to be something like 13 cents or something like that a day for the podcast. And, a very, very small investment. But nonetheless, it's been successful. And what I decided to do as we clicked over into 366 days, so into a new year, I decided to take a different approach. And I'll leave the best part till last. But my mission over this next 6 months to 2 years is to step more onto the global platform and help more people around the world, touch more people's lives around the world. And the space that I work in is incredibly flooded with different people from around the globe that are doing something in the space of health and fitness and trying to find their voice and influence and so forth. And I guess I'm no different to that. I'd like to think that what I'm doing is slightly different to what others do. And we're all unique individuals, aren't we? And what I'm looking to do is use my approach to help change people's mindsets, to help give them sustainable, workable solutions that fit within their lifestyles easily without being a dramatic change in their life, but having a dramatic impact on their life, if that makes sense. So what I have decided to do is to keep doing the podcast, obviously, because I think it's, the feedback I get is really fabulous. People really value the content, and it helps take them from where they have been to where they want to be. And it's that daily interaction that they get for a very small fee to have an insight into my life and how I live. And I'm often, surprised to some extent how people, I'm surprised and I'm not surprised. But I kind of forget about the impact that I do have on people's lives. And when people comment and say, wow, I really love how you talked about this, or that's really powerful, or I wish I was as successful as you by the time, actually the last person that said that didn't say by the time I'm your age, they said, I hope I'm successful as you. And they're all great comments, and that's not why I do it. I do it to help people, but obviously when you get feedback, it makes you know that, well, you're on the right path to helping people. And 398 days ago, I wasn't doing a podcast, and I saw this as a great opportunity to reach more people from anywhere and influence some struggles perhaps that people were having, the battles that people have on a day-to-day basis, and fill a space that no one else is doing in the health and fitness space. There's no one else that I've come across in the world that does a podcast every single day. And so you get to follow them every single day. You look at the big high-profile podcasts, whether it be someone like Tony Robbins, Dr. Phil, Brendan Burchard, any of those types of people, and I could name a heap of others. Tom Bailey, I listen to his stuff. I think the closest I saw was about every 5 days, but some people most of them tend to do something weekly. JT, he does his own on JT Fox, that is, my coach. He does his on a daily basis on his platform, which is called Millionaire Flicks. And there's a monthly charge for his, but I listen to his every day, along with a bunch of his other programs as well. But there's no one in this space of health and fitness that is doing this, because it's a definite commitment, isn't it? It's a commitment every single day to tell you about something in the space of health, fitness, mindset, and to come up with a new topic every day to be talking to you about. And you get to have a direct insight into what's going on in my life, following my journey. And if you went back to the very beginning and listen to some of the conversations as we go through, you can see the struggles that you have to go through, the successes, how I went from not having the book at all to creating the book, and writing so much over in Bali, and then the steps that I've taken since then to get to where I am now. I mean, it's quite fascinating to go back and listen to it, and I'll be listening to something and I say, oh yeah, that's right, wow, that seems like so long ago, and only I really know what I've had to go through to get to certain points. But I guess when you look at a health and fitness journey, it never stops. Like, that journey never ends. And just like every day of your life, you're going through things every single day. And I'm using this platform to share with you, obviously, what it needs to happen in your life to be healthy and fit, and the different, I guess, topics that come up, the different strategies that I come across, the different ones that I use, the ones that I don't use because I've tried them and they don't work, or the reasons that I'm not going to try them. And I guess as your coach, just fast-tracking results, inspiring, educating, empowering. I mean, that's the whole idea of this podcast, to keep you focused, on track, energized, and inspired to keep taking action every single day. And it could be anything that I say, even in today's podcast, that it just triggers a thought in you, an action in you to do something a little bit different, or to do something, because you may have been thinking about doing something, but you just haven't. So someone recently, yesterday actually, just made a purchase of the podcast, and it's somebody that I haven't heard from in, I'm going to say 2 years, but I haven't looked it up to see exactly when we last had contact. But my goal in life is to have people come into our fitness family, and I do really feel that people are a part of the family, and it doesn't matter what happens in people's lives. They know that, well, here's a trusted resource that I can go back to at any point in my life, whether it's you've had to step away for a period of time, but then you come back. You know that I'm about lifetime relationships, so whenever you need something, I'm there. And I always use, lately, I've been using Alex as an example. G'day, Alex, if you're listening. So Alex came to see me back in 2010, and he had some phenomenal results. You can see his testimonial on the website, studiospt.com.au, and he lost something like 19 kilos in 12 weeks, I think it was. Something like 19 kilos in 12 weeks. And it's 20. I can just see it in front of me here on my wall. 20 kilos in 12 weeks. He absolutely smashed it and went from being a really poor self-image of himself, not confident at all, to being able to completely turn his confidence around, his image, and completely change his life. And then he was empowered to go off and do it by himself, which he did successfully for many, many years, got a new job, got into the industry that he really wanted to get into, and he's still working in that industry and he loves it. And sometimes life smacks you in the face, and he was going through a bit of a tough patch, and he reached out to me last year, so 8 years later, and said, can we have a chat? And so he came in, we had a chat, and we got him back on track again. And because of where he was living, he was unable to come in to see me on a regular basis. So all we did was we just checked in every now and then via text, phone call, once, twice a week for a few weeks. And now he's back on track. He's lost the unwanted fat from his body. He's feeling great. And, that's fantastic. So he knew that 8 years later, even though he'd gone off and done it by himself, that he knew where to come back to. And that's what I want for anyone that's listening to this. It's a commitment for me to record this every single day. Don't think that I don't appreciate that it's a commitment to listen every day as well. I mean, I'd record it every day because we need inspiration and empowerment and education and sometimes just some fun, comic relief, every single day to keep us moving in the direction that we want to. And if you listen for a few days and then you don't for a few weeks, then obviously you're shifting your focus somewhere else. And over that period of time, you'll find that your results will wane. They may reduce, they may stay the same. But let's face it, if you're not growing every single day, then you're dying. And I want you to keep moving forward every single day. Keep progressing. Keep doing something that is moving you in the direction of your sustained, optimized health every single day. And if that sounds like too much hard work for you, then I'm sorry to say, but you've got to keep breathing every day. You've got to keep eating wholesome, nutritious food every day. You've got to keep moving every day if you want to live the absolute best life that you can, the best quality of life that you can. And if you have been listening for a while, you will have heard me talk about some of my older clients and what happens 30, 40, 50 years after bad habits start, and how they then start to show up in your body. Because you could be young right now and listening to this and say, I don't need this, I don't need to do something every day, I'll do that, then, or I'll just do a little bit here and then, I'm done. Well, I'm here to show you that you do need to do something every single day, because of the clients that I see, the stories that I hear, the news articles and so forth that I read, that if you're not working in this space of optimizing your health, then it's going to show up once you're over 60, 65, and that will show up in a very unpleasant way that you don't want it to. And one, it could cost you a lot of money to fix it. It could cost you a lot of time to fix it and inconvenience. And thirdly, it may not be fixable. And I just think a life is way too short to put it in the hands of fate or your creator, whatever you want to call it, to not take ownership of this yourself. And yeah, you could walk out the front door, people saying you could get hit by a bus. Well, that'd be pretty difficult for me here because there's no buses that go outside my front door. But I get the point that, yes, you just don't know if, I don't know, a plane's going to fall out of the sky and drop on top of you, or you're involved in an accident or by some freakish thing. You can't control that, but you also can't live in fear and being immobilised because if I step outside my front door, something could happen, because you could stay inside your front door and something still happen as well. It's just that you don't live life like that. You want to, take life by the horns and live it on your terms. And that's my point with giving you all this information, to say I'm going to be 51 in, less than a month. And I should do a whole podcast on birthdays, because birthdays just creep up, and I'm not sure that I really, the last few I haven't really celebrated in a big way, because they always fall on cheer weekends, and this one is too, the one coming up. But I've lost my train of thought now. The thought of doing something every single day, and we were talking about how it might show up and whack you in the face in a way that you don't want to see it. Living life on your terms. That's right. Birthdays, me being 51. I have horrible genetics in my family. There's a lot of illness and so forth. But one of those things could get me as I aged. Dementia on both sides of the family. Dad had it for a number of years, and then he went downhill dramatically within a 12-month to 2-year period, and that could happen to me. But I'm not going to live in fear, thinking that, oh gosh, I've only got 25 years left before that's going to be my fate. And there's some days where you go through the day and you think, oh man, I can't remember what was that about, because whatever reason. And that happens to me too. And every now and then a thought will come into my mind as to, I wonder if that is an early sign of me losing my memory. Is that an early sign of dementia? Because it's Dad's short-term memory that went before his long-term memory. And it's those short-term things, I just looked at that. What was that? What was we talking about? Just like I said then before about my birthday. But I guess the reality is that we have a lot going on in our heads and in our lives, and you can get distracted. And it's probably just something around that, as opposed to I can't remember what I just said a few seconds ago. But I'm going to live life on my terms, which is why I make sure that I take this action every single day to optimize my health. And it's why it's important for me to do this every single day for you, because I know that you need things every single day to keep moving you forward as well. Now, if you pick this podcast up, then thank you. I mean, you're one of the top 1% of people that is going to be successful if you follow what it is that I do. The key is not to just listen passively, not to just, stick it in the car and say, oh yeah, that was good, and not do anything about it, because that's what everybody else does with a podcast. And this is why I want you to be different and not just listen and say, oh yeah, that was really good, or that was a laugh, or yeah, I didn't like that, or whatever. Then, on a whole bunch of days, I give you some homework, something to do. And the only way that you're going to move your life forward is if you listen and you take the action, you act on what it is that I say that you need to do. And sometimes there'll be things that I talk about where I haven't said, okay, this is what you need to do, but you realise, gosh, that's something that I need to do. And you need to then go and do it. And you need to do it within 24 hours of listening to it, because there's another podcast coming the next day. And sometimes due to the timing, it's not always going to be exactly 24 hours. Sometimes it'll be less. So like by the time I upload this one in particular, it will be less than 24 hours that I loaded the last one, just because of it's early in the morning, and I had some time this morning to do it rather than doing it later in the day. And kids are still on school holidays for another day. I've got them, and then they go back on Thursday. Today's Tuesday. So you've got to make sure that you keep taking action. So if you think about, okay, you say, oh, well, you could just do this on a weekly basis. I say, well, okay, a lot happens in a week. And depending on which day you then listen to it, it's like, well, it depends on what's going on in your life at that time. And I could almost guarantee that you will not remember what I spoke about the week before if I did it on a weekly basis. And I don't think a weekly basis gives you that momentum to keep moving forward. But daily makes me become part of your routine. I become part of your life. And when you can see how I live and the topics that I talk about, but also interspersing, what's happened in my day. I'm a normal person, and what I'm doing is I'm building something special here, a bigger business, a bigger global message for people, helping more people, and you get to come on that journey as well. I mean, JT's called me the next fitness tycoon, and that doesn't just happen. It's not by him just saying, oh, well, you're going to be the next fitness tycoon. It's that I've got to take massive action in order for me to be able to get there. And it comes at a lot of cost in terms of time, effort, emotion, output to be able to do those things, but it's worth it. It's worth being able to have such an impact on people's lives. You impact just one person, and that is a very special gift that you've given to that person. And I don't know you personally necessarily, like there's people listening to this obviously that are all active clients and so forth. There are people that are listening to it that aren't active clients and may be placed in other regions around the world, and I may not necessarily know you, but you know you, and you know what it is that you do and how you impact other people's lives. And my point here is, if you have touched someone's life in some way by virtue of your career or something that you do, then that's incredibly special, isn't it? I remember the very first client that I helped, Stephen. He lost 9.25 kilos in 6 weeks and completely changed who he was. Like his physical body, but also his health, and dramatically reduced his stress levels. But it changed his self-image and self-confidence as well. And that to me was a much more beautiful gift than when I used to work as an internal auditor. We saved this organisation $110 million in annualised savings, and that was a nice thing to achieve for that company. But it was a huge corporation. $100 million to them was kind of like a drop in the ocean. And I say those numbers and you think, wow, it's got all those zeros on the end. But for me, I got way more out of helping Stephen lose 9.25 kilos, just because of the deep impact I knew that it had on him, as opposed to $110 million not really impacting the organisation too much in terms of, wow, we're really grateful for that. Whereas Stephen was incredibly grateful and probably always will be for the way that I touched his life. So, and I'm sure you've got those experiences as well. I mean, outside your family, obviously you touch, the impact that you have in touching your kids' lives and shaping them and so forth, if that's relevant to you, is huge, or your partner or other, friends and stuff. I'm talking about those deep, impactful moments that really just touch you. And that's why I do what I do, because I think I've got a gift to give to people that don't know how to get started. They don't know how to get the results. And me spending the last 30 odd years of my life dedicated to making myself better, getting the education becoming an authority in the area of weight loss and being open to new ideas as well. I mean, this is why I have gotten into the Isagenix products and working with Kerry Pothast, because I saw that there's a great opportunity here for people that are getting busier and busier in their lives, or not getting the results that they want, and looking for convenient solutions, and to introduce them to that system. Now, it's not for everybody, I understand that, but it's just one other option that I have to talk about with people. And I was actually on a call last night with Kerry, and we were talking about, she was asking me, why I got into it. And I said, for me, it's about that world class of, what would you say? World class everything that I do. So I have the world's best coaches and forming the world's best relationships with the right people, and the world's best products as well, in terms of what I deliver, but in terms of what I'm going to put into my body as well. And that's why I was so drawn to those products, because of the impact that they're having on my life, and just seamlessly incorporating them into my life. It's not a dramatic change for me, because I just substitute my protein powder for theirs, and just some other supplements. It's simple as that. And then I do some cleansing once a week, which is a new concept for me, but it's quite manageable. But my point is that I'm always looking at what's happening around, and then trying it, bringing it to you to then talk about, to say, okay, is this something that is going to work for you, without flip-flopping from one thing to the other, and say, okay, let's do this diet, okay, let's do this diet, okay, let's do this diet. It's very consistent with what I've always done. And it's having that trusted resource, because for me, it's about you forming these habits that you do daily and you implement into your life, so that things are seamless, workable for you, and you know that you're optimizing your health. That's the key for me. You're optimizing your health, not just trying to look good for a period of time, but you're optimizing your health. You feel great, you feel energized, you look youthful, and you're getting great outcomes in your life, in other areas of your life. I mean, for me, I think your health should be something that you work on but you're not, it's not hard work to work on it, if that makes sense. I'm working on mine every day, but it's a bit like people saying to me, you work so hard. Now I figure, well, in my mind, I'm not working a day in my life, because I just love what it is that I do. So I don't see it as being work. Just like my health, I don't see it as me working hard on my health every day. It's just my lifestyle, the way that I lead it, and I love what I do. Like, I love the food that I eat. I love the exercise that I do. I love the way that it fills me up. I love all those aspects about it. So how does that work? It's just the way that I live. And people say to me, what are your hobbies and so forth? Well, I love reading, but my biggest hobby is the gym. I mean, I love working out. It just fills me up so much. These podcasts are about giving you the information that you need to have an impact on your life. So the big news is that I made the decision when we clicked over to the new year, and it's taken a while to work out and to get it all done, what I'm about to tell you, but all the podcasts from now on are going to be free. Completely free. There's no charge for them, and they're currently available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. I think there's 12 different platforms, all the popular ones, where you can go to and download these podcasts. You can listen to them for free anywhere. And that's really exciting. And I'm telling you now because I just got the notification from my man that's doing it. And he'd uploaded up to, I think, day 392 yesterday. So we're a few days behind. But it's all completely free. So it's my gift to you, because what I wanted to do is to, make sure that people are discovering it just free of charge anywhere around the world, and helping more people in that way. I mean, I don't need the money from it. I just want to be able to have an impact on people's lives. And I know this will not be for some people, but it's going to be right for you if you're listening to it right now. And I thank you for coming on the journey with me. I do want you to listen every single day. This one is a longer one. Well, we're just clocking over 30 minutes now. But you're looking at somewhere between 15 to maximum 30 minutes a day. You can listen to it while you're in the car, that kind of thing. But what I do need you to do is to make sure that where I'm talking about taking action, or there is something that I've said where you said, yeah, I actually need to do that. I need to make sure that I'm taking that next step in what you've said. I may not necessarily always say, okay, I want you to do this, but you'll be listening to something that I say where it's like, actually, yeah, I haven't done that. I need to make sure that I'm doing that. And if you've gone back and listened to some of my earlier ones, you'll see where I specifically asked that. But it's important to take the action every day. I cannot underestimate how important that is. And if you said, what's the single biggest thing that I've done to move myself from, say, day one in the podcast to where I am right now, my thinking is probably consistent, but the action that I'm taking is greater now than it was back then, because I can see the results of what happens when you do act and you move yourself further forward quickly. My coach JT, he is somebody that I've met that I would say is the greatest action taker I've ever met. He comes up with an idea and it's implemented or well on the way to being done within 24 hours. He's got a team around him that obviously supports that, but I see him come up with ideas and I see him acting on it, turning an idea into a course or something like that within 24 hours to maybe 48 hours from the idea to having delivered it. And some of these things are like $1 million ideas that he just says, yeah, we're going to run with this, and boom, he's just done it. And then I'll see an ad somewhere on like Instagram or Facebook. It's like, man, he's just taken that and he's turned it into this. And then I end up going to the events, and it's like, man, that just came out of something that maybe you or I may sit there and think that it's going to be a good idea, and yeah, we'll do that one day. And he's just done it in a matter of hours, really. And I think that's the difference with most of us. We are procrastinators. We sit on our hands. We're wishing, hoping for something one day, like the people that I come across that are wanting to achieve an outcome. It's cold, it's winter at the moment, so, oh yeah, but it's hard for me to get out. You can't make excuses like that. They're the dumbest excuses that you can come up with. So you're telling me you want a different outcome, but it's too cold? Well, you're never going to be successful, with that mindset. You have to say, it's cold, but I'm going to do it anyway because I realise that these are the benefits that I'm going to get. Now, it's the people that make the excuses are the ones that are normally in the poorer health condition. It's the people that are healthy and vibrant and full of energy and inspiration to help others and themselves. They're the ones that are acting every single day. So that's what I need you to do. And this is why I've recorded it every day, because this requires a commitment from me to do it every single day. And even though people might look at me and say, "Wow, I wish I had your health." Well, I'm working on my health every day, but like I said before, it's just part of my lifestyle. But for me, I guess I want to show to you what it means to have that commitment. Now, me doing this daily podcast, that's a commitment to me. I have great health and I keep working on it every day, but you might say, well, you're already there, it's easy for you. Well, this podcast is my commitment every day to do something every day that I don't have to do, but I do it because I know it's going to serve others. And I think it's just a good habit for me to get into, to do something healthy and good every single day. And it requires effort from me to come up with a new topic to talk about and to take the time to record it, upload it, do all of that kind of stuff. And hopefully you seeing me being consistent in the action that I'm taking with this podcast, you'll say, well, actually I can see how that translates to other areas of my life as well. It means that yes, I can be doing the same thing with my food and my exercise. I need to be doing something every single day. I need to be doing something with my mindset. And the key with this podcast is to say, okay, every single day, I need to fill up my brain, fill up my mind with positive, inspirational, empowering thoughts from somebody that I respect. And like I listen to JT every day. I listen to other people from time to time, but JT is the one person that I listen to every single day. And look, not every day he's got something that is particularly insightful, but it's his commitment to me in making the recording and the commitment to me doing strategic thinking and filling my head up with somebody that's inspiring me. Because I can tell you, if I do happen to, say over a weekend, I get busy or whatever, and I think, oh man, I do a catch up on Monday, I find that there's been a bit of a loss of momentum for me sometimes when I haven't listened. So that this will happen to you as well. If you don't do something consistently, then you can lose that momentum. And I don't want you to. I want you to keep moving forward, keep taking action, keep listening, keep acting, and you'll keep getting the results that you're looking for. That's my message for you today. So podcasts are free. So share it with people. Please enter comments. Please, write a review. Say whether you like it. Like clicking the stars and whatever on the different platforms, so that we can start to have an impact on more people in this space. The way these podcasts work, the more stars that you get, the more ratings and reviews that you get, it boosts the ranking of the podcast up the list. And I can tell you there's not that many podcasts on available that would have more than 300 available to download. And if you are jumping on this one for the first time, this happens to be the first one that you listen to, then I want you to make note of the fact that there are, I do one each day, and the number that you're listening to, I always call it day, this one was, what did I say, day 397. Each day will have a number in front of it. So I encourage everybody, like the person that bought yesterday, go back to the very first week and listen to day one and go from there. You don't have to listen to, it's going to take you a long time to listen to 392, but I would certainly listen to the first week, because depending on why you jumped on right now, if you go right back there, you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of how do you set yourself up for success, and some key essential things that I recommend that you need to be doing to get the results that you want. And then just maybe scan through the headings of each of the days and say, okay, is there something in particular that grabs your attention? And maybe on a different day, you'll find that something else grabs your attention. So, I've made the headings descriptive to hopefully draw you in where you need to. And that's what's important. So once again, I thank you for joining us on the Rob Evans 365 podcast. I hope to meet you one day. I hope that this can have an impact in your life. And just remember this, keep taking action every single day, because that's what's required to optimize your health. And don't underestimate how important your mindset is in conquering that health and fitness journey and making it a big part of who you are and what you do. Because life's beautiful, and I think the health and the gift of health that we give ourselves is one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves. So have fun, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Bye for now. Bye for now. Bye for now.